Hey MMA fans, Caged Minds, your host Micah Frankel. Gonna recap the action from UFC on Fuel TV number 3. Start off with the prelims. First one was Francisco Rivera versus Alex Soto. We had picked Rivera to win with the first round TKO and his heavy hands. Didn't get that knockout, but did wobble Soto several times throughout the fight. It was a thorough beatdown, and Francisco Rivera gets his first UFC win. 30-27, completely controlled the action with his boxing, beat up Soto. Next fight, Jeff Curran versus Johnny Eduardo. We had picked Jeff Curran to win, getting the fight to the ground and using his jiu-jitsu advantage. That did not happen. Eduardo kept it standing, and brutal, vicious, no vignao signature leg kicks get him to a 29-28 unanimous decision in the third round. Curran did make a comeback, but not significant enough to steal the fight. Next matchup, Rafael Dos Anjos versus Kamal Shalorus. This was our first stoppage of the event. Dos Anjos with a giant head kick, knocking down Shalorus, jumped on top, used a little ground and pound, transitions from a side position to going for the back, goes for a rear naked choke. Shalorus fended off the first one, and then Dos Anjos is able to reposition, get his leg over the arm of Shalorus, keeping it locked down, then sinks in that rear naked choke in the first round. Dos Anjos, and we had picked him to be victorious. Next fight was TJ Grant versus Carlo Prater. We saw it being a grappling contest, and we predicted Grant to win unanimously. I didn't give TJ Grant as much credit as he deserves. His striking and his full game was on display, showed to be better than Carlo Prater, and did get the fight to the ground, was dominant and controlling, got a unanimous decision. So TJ Grant looking better and better, moving up in the lightweight division. Next matchup was Cody McKenzie versus Marcus Levesher. Levesher was a well-renowned collegiate wrestler, making his debut into the octagon. Cody McKenzie, all you have to remember is, from The Ultimate Fighter, the McKenzie team. Well, we thought the wrestler stuck out his neck a little too much. Saw a video where he got caught up in a lot of guillotines. I thought McKenzie could finish one of those, and to no surprise, he did. Levesher played on the ground too much and got caught. Cody McKenzie with the McKenzie team still looks to have some holes in his game, but he can make up for it with that knockout blow. Next fight was Brad Tavares versus Dongyi Yang, and this fight was a close back and forth throughout the first round. In the second round, Dongyi Yang was really moving forward. The second round, a eye poke in the first round led from Yang to Tavares, led Tavares to be really inactive in that second round, and in the third round, Tavares got takedowns. He was pressuring a little more active. Dong Yi just looked to be dying from the weight cut. Brad Tavares got a sloppy decision victory. Now we move on to the main card. Started that off with Jason Macdonald versus Tom Lawler. We had picked Lawler with a first round TKO, and that's what happened. A left to the chin, a right behind the ear, and Jason Macdonald was flat out. Previously, before this fight, Macdonald had said that he could be contemplating retirement. He decided no, he's going to try to give it another go. But against some of these heavy strikers in the UFC, he's not having the greatest of success. Tom Lawler, it was his birthday. A birthday present also in a Knockout of the Night award for that devastating two-punch combination he landed. And what a birthday present for him. Great to get back on the winning ways for Tom Lawler. Next fight was at the light heavyweights, Igor Pokrajac and Fabio Maldonado. We look to see this as two dangerous strikers, and in a slugfest, we had predicted a third round TKO for Maldonado with his boxing, and because the guy can take, like I said, a sledgehammer to the head's worth of damage. He has a tremendous chin, and that's basically why we went with Maldonado. Go to the fight. Pokrajac gets the takedown right away, goes to the ground, and after a lot of trying to get position, a lot of transitions, Maldonado was able to fight his way back up to his feet and started unleashing combinations and strikes on Pokrajac, and I thought it was dramatic enough, the amount of strikes versus the takedown and the inactivity of Pokrajac. He was going for submissions and position over strikes, so I thought the strikes of Maldonado really could have canceled it out in the first round. In the second round, Maldonado and Pokrajac end up in a clinch position. If you saw Maldonado versus Kyle Kingsbury, we've seen that Maldonado will work the body if he's put in Muay Thai clinch, take knees to the head. He doesn't care. It was the same recipe again. He had Pokrajac pushed against the fence. I have the numbers here. According to the UFC, what's on their site, Maldonado landed 98 significant strikes throughout the whole contest, and Pokrajac landed 36 and 1 takedown. In a split decision, though, the judges, or I think actually I'm wrong on the split decision, it was a unanimous decision. All the judges saw it in favor of Pokrajac. One judge saw it 30-27, and I can completely disagree with that judge. The second round I thought was all Maldonado. The first and third round I felt were close. It's really saying volume over power, and we've had this kind of conversation before. But really, for the power that Pokrajac was throwing, Maldonado fell back a couple times but never fell down, and landing 3 times as many strikes as your opponents. And Pokrajac looked to almost have given up. Gotta commend him on his heart, though, for willing through in the third round. I don't agree with the judges, but unanimously they decided that Pokrajac won the fight. I feel I disagree with this one, though, because of the giant amount of strikes landed, or I could just be prejudiced because I picked Maldonado. I'll throw that out there. I'm not going to lie. But I really felt that this fight could use a rematch because of that 3-1 difference in the amount of strikes landed. I'm going to stop going on about that fight. Move on to the next one now. Yves Jabouin versus Jeff Hougland, and we have picked Jabouin to win with a unanimous decision. That he was better. His striking is crisper, and his takedown defense, he doesn't play. He lands ground and pound on top now. He's getting better, moving from featherweight to bantamweight. Now he's a bantamweight beast, and this fight also had a real interesting moment. There was a point where Jabouin landed a spinning back kick right to the midsection, about to deliver shot to Hougland. Hougland dropped down, and they even showed this on the replay on Fuel. The referee impeded the progress of Jabouin to go forward through to get to Hougland. I thought that's kind of like the ref stopping the fight. It was very suspicious, and there was a point on the ground where Hougland was getting beat up, did survive afterwards, but some shady officiating when we're thinking about fighter safety. Jabouin did dominate the fight, was not able to finish it. 30-27, 30-27, and even a 30-26 on the scorecards. Jabouin, very impressive. I feel he's a top 10 bantamweight. Him and Brad Pickett, I think, would make a very entertaining fight for the next one. Even maybe Roland Delorme, who's coming off of a win. Those could both be very interesting matchups for Jabouin. Next matchup that we're talking about, though, going to the lightweights. Donald Cowboy Cerrone, Jeremey Stephens. Stephens said this week he thought he could break Cerrone like Diaz broke Cerrone. Cerrone took those words a little offensively, came out there looking like a new man, using movement, keeping his distance, jabbed the heck out of the left eye of Stephens, had it all nearly closed up, bleeding, swollen, using beautiful a 1-2 punch and ending it with a leg kick combination. Cerrone did that through and throughout, even using knees, elbows, a great dominant striking display. Cerrone now, I believe that is 6-1 in the UFC, and getting back on the winning ways, continuing to build momentum. Jeremey Stephens, always full of heart, was swinging for the fences to the last minute, was just outclassed really in this fight by the multiple techniques of Cerrone with the kicks, knees, the elbows, compared to just Stephens trying to knock his head off with a big right. So Cerrone wins that fight with a unanimous decision like we predicted. Now we're up to the co-main event, where it was Amir Sadollah versus Jorge Lopez. This fight, again, I don't like the way the judges did it, but this fight was lackluster for action after a explosive striking first round that I really felt Lopez landed more strikes, more significant. It turned into Lopez was gassed, they're in the clinch, and he's attempting takedowns. The more active striker looked to be Sadollah, but every time he was active, he let Lopez off the hook, got caught with a jab too, be pushed in. On the UFC site, I'm talking about what they said for statistics, we have Amir Sadollah with 36 strikes, 1 takedown, and had 1 submission attempt. To Jorge Lopez's 32 strikes, 4 takedowns, and 2 passes from the guard to the half guard. I think he even got the side control once. So the striking did go in Sadollah's favor. The takedowns, which usually weigh pretty heavily on the judges, and it's what gave Igor Pokrajac his first round, the judges decided over Maldonado, didn't hold up in this fight, as in a split decision they saw it from Amir Sadollah. Sadollah, though, is from Virginia, from that area, and I kind of feel that Lopez got a little hometown, because even I am not the biggest, lover of the grappling and of the takedowns to steal rounds and stuff, but when that's what we're used to seeing, I just like to see the judges be more consistent. Because to me, looking at it, if Pokrajac won that first round, and that's the way you're scoring all the fights, then Lopez won this fight. If you're going for the striking, well, Maldonado beat Pokrajac, and Sadollah, yes, then did beat Lopez. I'm calling out the consistency of the judging at that event. But enough about that. Let's move up to the main event. We had Dustin the Diamond Pirier and the Korean Zombie, Sung Jung. This fight started off fast, started off furious. We had predicted, don't let me get that out of the way. We predicted for Pirier to win this with a unanimous decision. That did not work out. In the most incredible performance and display of his career, the Zombie, who was just a brawler as a tactician, won this fight in every position, from the body locks and the clinches to where he was able to gain trips, from when he was in top control, landing elbows and ground and pound, to even when he was transitioned on his back, using arm bars and triangles, just making Poirier's night hell. It was an incredible performance. The crowd was going nuts. And from this performance, the fight was so awesome. The heart that Poirier showed and the never say die attitude of Jung made this amazing. They won fight of the night. Jung, his biggest moment was when he went for a left, ducked down with his right hand looking like he was going for a single leg, came back up with that right hand and landed an uppercut that buckled Poirier all the way to the fence, came flying in with a huge knee, got the fight to the ground. And as Poirier is trying to push forward for a takedown of his own, trying to recover, trying to use his heart, he gets caught in a Darish choke, the same move that he beat Pablo Garza with, he is defeated with. So we got the fight of the night for the main event, and with the way in the fashion it ends, Jung is also awarded the submission of the night check. So the fame, the big stage, the greatest performance of his career, and I gotta say, a dramatic change in him from when we first saw him brawling with Leonard Garcia. It was amazing to watch. And also at the press conference, we found out that Jung will get the winner of Aldo versus Coke. That will be a very entertaining fight. Caged Minds, on our predictions, we went 8-4. Decent night for us. Great night of fights. Fuel 3 delivered. If you did not see it, try to find a way to contact someone with a DVR. This has been Caged Minds. Like the video, subscribe to the channels. Thank you for watching. Hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Uncage the warrior within yourself, and have a good night.